I'm here today with Prudence Ferreira from Integral Impact and a member of the Passive House Institute U.S. Board of Directors. That's a mouthful. Prudence, it's great to have you here. I met Prudence several years ago now as part of activities in the Passive House California group, a local grassroots advocacy organization here in the Bay Area. And Prudence went on to become a member of the board of directors at the national level at PHIUS. So first of all, Prudence, tell us what is PHIUS, or actually more importantly, what's your story and how you got started in Passive House?
You know, I think we all started out at the grassroots level. You find out from friends or people you know. I actually heard about it in a class at PG&E, which is our local utility. And, I had been studying and implementing green building for a while through some of the prescriptive systems like LEED, and here in California, Green Point Rated. And I just had this feeling of dissatisfaction that it wasn't doing enough. And when I heard about Passive House, that it was a performance-based approach, I decided to check it out, and I never looked back. I went to one of the local meetings, immediately got involved, started helping move the organization forward, and I've just been trucking since then.
I observed that activity. Prudence was a marvelous organizer, and again, now you're on helping to move ahead at the national level. So I mentioned PHIUS, Passive House Institute US. Tell us about that organization, the history of PHIUS.
So PHIUS was started by Katrin Klingenberg. She's their executive director right now, along with Mike Kernagis, their co-executive director. And together, they have really moved forward the conversation about Passive House in the U.S. Their primary activity for the past several years has been educating people, going around the country. It's a bit like a concert tour. They're constantly on the road, going to different cities and educating anyone from builders to energy consultants. Occasionally, a really smart homeowner shows up, but you have to have some pre-qualifications to get into the program so that we can keep the caliber of the training relatively high and keep those more kind of day-to-day owner-type questions for something that we talk about amongst ourselves after we go
So this
through
this is the training I took to become a certified Passive House consultant, to truly understand all of the principles and the physics and the building science and so forth, and be able to go on and design these buildings, correct?
That's correct, and that's a very large part of what PHIUS does is education. They're also involved in advocacy. And on a national level, there's been some really positive steps forward in the last year. Conversations have started with the Department of Energy in regards to figuring out how to harmonize programs like the program Alan's home here is participating in, Building America, and Energy Star with Passive House. Also, there have been conversations that have moved a pretty good click ahead in regards to harmonization of the Passive House standard with the LEED for Homes rating system. And this is all based on the HERS index. And on another video, as part of this series, you heard George Nesbitt talking about how this home was the first in California to achieve a HERS rating of 0. So these other programs that Passive House Institute is helping to create equivalencies between with Passive House. That's the common language between all of them, is that HERS index.
Well, this is really important, and it's interesting you say that, because the Passive House is actually a European brand and system, but ironically that's based on original North American technology, the super insulated home that was started back in the 70s and 80s. They just picked it up later, and I know that there's some sense of not invented here amongst some quarters and so forth. So I've observed in the last 24 months that there's been a lot of progress that PHIUS has made in connecting with those programs, certification programs and green building programs, etc., that are grassroots efforts in this country. So it's really great to see PHIUS make that kind of progress in truly bringing this standard into the country and starting to weave it into at the grassroots level.
Well, that's right, and you know, it's really that type of advocacy, working with the community, the building science and the green building community that's already here, to help them understand the benefit of this performance-based approach and how it can enrich what they're already doing.
Yeah, that's terrific.